reiterate that anytime there is a discussion about our territories, that we need to be in the room. And that it is very important to us that the Prime Minister see our territories and understand our concerns. And that is why our leadership invited him to sit and meet with us directly. So today we heard directly from the Prime Minister that his government will seek our free, prior and informed consent regarding any proposed projects in our territories, and that we will co-develop a transparent process moving forward. We are looking forward to partnering with the federal government to help facilitate projects in our territories that support sustainable economic development and marine protection. We also made our positions very clear and reiterated those positions around our stance regarding the oil pipeline, and that has not changed. Coastal First Nations, along with Wuikinuxv and the Haida Nation, oppose any project that proposed to bring oil tankers to the North Coast. We reiterated that there is no technology that can clean up an oil spill at sea, and that it would take just one spill to destroy our way of life. We shared our reliance on a healthy and intact ocean and our determination to protect the ocean and the ecosystem that we rely upon. And it's a reliance not just on coastal First Nations, but Canadians and British Columbians. The Hecate Strait is known as the fourth most dangerous body of water in the world and experiences wildly unpredictable weather and extremely dangerous conditions. And we shared that, and we talked about that, our leadership behind us here and our hereditary leadership. We had many people with us in the room to bring that message forward. The tanker ban is not partisan legislation. It is the result of 50 years of consultation and engagement with our coastal communities, and it is foundational to keeping our coast healthy and our economy strong. We all have aunts and uncles and grandparents that have been a part of different inquiries along the coast. I read, I reflect and I pick up the West Coast Oil Ports inquiry when the Andrew Thompson Commission was, in Namu, where we had some of our people there talking about why, we feel the way we feel about oil tankers on the coast, and why it's, detrimental to our values and our way of life. One of our elders, had said he did his testimony all in the Helsik language, and he was translated by Ed Newman, and he talked about the one oil spill would finish us, and we have not deviated from that position at all, and it really does carry forward the work that we do. We made it clear to the Prime Minister Carney that we would always support the oil tanker moratorium, and we called on him to support it, to protect and grow our sustainable economy that we have built on the North, Central and Haida Gwaii. And Gagwis will talk about some of the forward-looking discussions that we had concerning our nations and the work that we could do together.
Hello, Marilyn. Good afternoon, everyone. Hello for coming today. It was really important for us to share with the Prime Minister today that coastal First Nations are in support of sustainable economies, and that our coastal economy is already an important economic driver in this area, worth billions of dollars, and is continuing to grow exponentially. So it was, really important that he accepted our invitation to come here in person, see us face to face, and recognize that we're not just talking about strategic trade corridors and global trade, but this is our home. This is a responsibility for the nations to look after our territory for now and future generations. And our current livelihoods, and many current livelihoods and sustenance and food security are what we're talking about here, with what's currently already happening, and the good work that we've done together as nations with BC and Canada, and building on these sustainable economies and protecting the thousands of jobs, hundreds of businesses, and the billions in economic value that have been generated thanks to those strategic investments in a conservation-led economy. Our coastal economy contributes over $3 billion a year and is growing, and that's what was important to us to share and continue to start to build a relationship with Prime Minister Carney and his government to expand on that. That economy employs up to 30% of the people on the North Coast, and many good jobs here in Prince Rupert. And currently in Northwest BC alone, 40% of these shovel-ready projects that are being identified by the federal government as nation-building priorities are within the Northwest, within these coastal waters, would be impacted in these coastal waters. That includes the recent announcements around expanding LNG projects, critical minerals. And we were very clear in making sure that the Prime Minister understood that each one of those proposals and potential projects has a significant impact on adding to the shipping traffic here on the North Pacific coast, and that we need to make sure that we're prepared for that, and that as each one of these projects goes through its process, that the impacts of shipping, the cumulative effects, coastal erosion, impacts on species and habitat, our communities, our culture is all factored into how we're analyzing this and investing and preparing for that increase in traffic. We are very clear that we support sustainable economies. We're respectful of the challenge that the federal government is facing, and we want to be as flexible as we can in finding ways to work together, but based on our existing agreements and relationships established over many years between the coastal nations, Canada and BC, and coastal communities. Our communities the reality is we are the ones that are impacted by this proposed increase in shipping and projects. So we're the first responders, and we need to be prepared for that. We have firsthand experience from the nation standing here today, responding to the sinking of the Queen of the North, to the Nathan E. Stewart, to close calls like the Simishir. And we need to be deeply involved in collaborating and preparing for that, for existing traffic and proposed increases in traffic in the years to come. So our message was clear. We're not ready. The coast is not ready right now to respond to accidents and emergencies. It takes days to respond. We know the adverse conditions here of weather and tides. And there is an urgent need to prepare our coast for the projected 217% increase in shipping traffic, and make sure we equip our communities with the training, the equipment, the asset, the skills, and our ability to respond swiftly to make sure that people are safe and our ecosystems are safe. So we're happy that the federal government has recognized this situation and the need for increased marine capacity to address the growing impacts of shipping on our sensitive ecosystems and environments, in our culture, our communities, and that we have shared priorities within our existing agreements in our Oceans Reconciliation Framework Agreement, in our Great Bear Sea Marine Protected Area agreements, and we're looking forward to the next steps in working together to fully implement those agreements and commitments that have been made, and they need to happen in a timely way. Any questions?
Thank you. We can take questions from folks on the floor here, and then we'll move to online if we have time.
All right, we are going to forego the questions here, and I hope you'll open some discussion here on your thoughts on this, and we'll be back later. Don't forget, leave comments and discussion about how you think we could do things better as well. I want to thank everybody for joining us. We'll be back later. Bye.